Everybody has a day and the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. A little more love between makes for a brighter day. Never need worry, let one love set you free. One love, keep us together.
Ejiro Amos Tafiri. I'm a fashion designer, a creative entrepreneur, and I run a fashion company called Ejiro Amos Tafiri. We specialize in creating pieces that help upwardly mobile people celebrate who they are, their culture, where we're coming from. And my mission is to tell African stories and introduce African traditional dress forms to the rest of the world.
My name is Uche Okpa-Iroha. I'm a visual artist, an art and culture producer, a curator, and an art educator. I am the founder of the Engr Institute, Lagos, and the Lagos Portfolio Review. I use photography as my main medium of expression, and my journey into photography started in 2005. By 2009, I had won my first photography award, that being the Grand Prix Seidu Theatre for the best photography creation at the Bamako Encounters. And in 2015, I had repeated that feat, becoming the only photographer in Africa to have won the award twice. I have been part of the development of photography in Nigeria and more broadly in Africa for about 20 years, working with different generations of photographers across different genres, creating content, reimaging and reimagining the idea of our beloved continent.
My name is Aji Abolaji Mustafa. I run a travel management company. I'm the CEO of Grand Express Store Center.
My name is Engineer Joy Obi, popularly known as Lady Benz Auto Mechanic, the first female Mercedes-Benz specialist in Nigeria.
My name is Amaize Ojeikere. I am simply a photographer.
My name is Enyi Ben-Eboh. I do several things, but I'm more popularly known as an architect.
My name is Doris Ariole, the storyteller. I'm a filmmaker. I write, produce, and direct faith-based movies at Harvester World.
My name is Mrs. Odudu-Essien Oluwatosin. I'm a software engineer. I run an IT firm, majorly into training, software development, and branding.
Most people don't know a lot about Africa. Most people think it's a village. Most people think Africa is just one whole lump. Most people don't even know there's civilization, or that it's even the cradle of civilization.
You gain a lot of knowledge by traveling, so it adds more value. You can ask questions. It's like you putting what you see into reality. So that's one of the things that can actually change some perspective and open your mind, and you get more innovation.
I think Africans ourselves, we're not really educated about who we are enough. We don't talk about it enough. We take it for granted how unique we are. So I don't think the world has come to know us. They know the surface, asking color, and maybe things about our government systems that are not so great. But the other things that are extremely unique and amazing and is not common about us, like our mood of language, our traditional dress forms, and why our hair is the way it is, and how it could be done in several different ways, especially our art. I think that's the best form of storytelling that we have. Like our culture is really embedded in the way we present our art, from fashion, music, to even visual art, painting, sculptures. It's just a mode to transfer stories from time to time. So I feel like being consciously aware of the responsibility of an African creative, it's constantly in my mind to, be honest to who we are, as opposed to this thing where a lot of designers, especially those of us designing and making clothes, we think, oh, make it Afrocentric, like more Western, just sprinkle a little bit of African. No, I don't think anybody else just does their thing and sprinkle. So it's being conscious that as much as the world is a global village, we have a lot to contribute to this world, and the world will not be a complete place without Africa and African storytellers.
Welcome to Lady Benz Auto Mechanic Limited, a workshop that specializes on Mercedes-Benz only. We don't do any other thing apart from any other car apart from Mercedes-Benz cars. We are specialists here on Benz cars. It has always been my dream to be an automobile engineer, to have my own workshop, to have my own business, so that I can also pass it to other people. And having had that dream, I see the dream come true.
Africa is a continent that is greatly underestimated and to a large extent misunderstood. If you go back in history, we did history of architecture, and one of the earliest forms of architecture we learned about was the Egyptian architecture. Of course, we all know that Egypt is in Africa, and at about the time that the Egyptian empire, so to say, was holding sway, you also had other empires in Ethiopia, in Sudan, and even in the Benin Empire in this part of the world. And those empires, or the Mali Empire, of course, Said Mansa Musa was one of the richest people in his time. So we had a lot of, development at that time.
Africa holds a lot for the world. Africa produces the world's raw materials for everything you can think of, whether it's oil, uranium, diamonds. Africa holds the key. And it's unfortunate that it's not seen from that point. And because of that, what the world should be doing is how to preserve Africa. Apart from preserving Africa, see how they can make Africa truly, grow their economy, but not dehumanize them. Don't make them feel that they're not important. Meanwhile, they are giving the world all the things. The world is taking so much from Africa and not giving anything back in return. And yet, Africa is still surviving.
Today we know about all other cultures, and with Africans we've, imbibed and participated. It's time for us to show the rest of the world what we are about, through our food, our music, our fashion, our culture, everything. And if you didn't think they would like it, see what's happening with music. It's taking over the world.
When we were younger, and if there was a party in Nigeria, we were always playing foreign songs, the Shalamas, the major European and American artists at that time. But what do you have to what do you experience today? If you go to any party in Nigeria, you can hardly hear any foreign music. You also find a situation where you travel to the US, you travel to London, and in their big malls, they are playing Davido, they are playing other Nigerian artists, which never used to be the case.
So just imagine what jollof rice could do, and imagine what your fashion could do. All the amazing things that we have all the tuwo and everything, they don't know. People are eating tuwo around the world. Travel to China and they're Chinese people, that's all they're doing in the restaurant, making African Nigerian food. So don't feel weird, like, oh, they don't want it. We all eat Italian. So they can all eat Nigerian. They can all eat Zimbabwean. They can share what we have. And that's what being one beautiful world is about.
The way my job add value to innovation and culture in Africa, to be precise, is because, gone are the days when parents choose career for their children. In those days, you see parents not allowing their female children to go in the line of automobile business because they are looking at it as that is a male-dominated industry. And what I'm doing here now is to change that narrative. Most of the people you see here are being trained by me. When I train them, I don't throw them to the streets. So what I do is to absorb them back by employing them. For instance, my workshop manager now here, who is also a lady, after training her, today she's my manager. To let the women know that automobile industry is a very lucrative business, which they can easily be a boss of their own and actualize their dream. It doesn't take the woman they are out of them.
There's that reawakening of our consciousness to the fact that you cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. So you cannot design in any other style better than the people who own that style. But nobody can design in your own style the way you can. And it's only when you're able to bring out the beautiful features and the functional features of your architecture that the rest of the world can now buy it.
So whatever I'm doing now is something very important in documenting the history and lifestyle of our people. And that way, it's something that prosperity can learn from. On the creative side, people can see that you can be creative, whether you're an American, whether you're British, you're African, or you're Nigerian.
At the coronation of the King of England, for instance, Tiwa Savage performed something you would not have imagined 20, 30 years ago. We had Rema, who performed in India. Who would have thought that the Indians would see a young Nigerian artist and want to have them perform at that level?
I hope that the rest of the world get to know the true Africa, I mean the cosmopolitan current Africa, and see that we're just like you, we're same, just from different parts of the world, and it's a global village. We have technology, we have the internet, so we're not one backwater village just, struggling with all the weird information that you have about what Africa is. So let's celebrate each other, let's be one people, and I hope that they discover the joy and excitement and wonder that is embedded in Africa.
Today's world is driven by technology, and when you talk about African world and culture, our culture is not complete without technology because it's a global village, and we are growing, we are developing very rapidly. So with what we do, we are able to train youth to think differently from where we've been and think of innovation, think of solutions that can help us develop them more.
Well, I think that the diversity even in language is good. The diversity even in terms of lifestyle is good. In terms of idea is good.
African diversity is a strength in our business in the sense that having people coming from other parts of Africa. Like for instance, in my workshop, I have Togolese, I have people that come from Seme, I have people from different parts of Africa. I have people from Ghana. So they bring in their own culture. They let us know how their culture is. So we learn from them, and that makes us to work as one.
Right here in Africa, we are making the world proud. We are building young people that have ideas and can innovate. Young people that have, young people that can move the world on, that can expand Africa and bring up solutions that will make Africa a place to reckon with.
I'm happy the renaissance that is taking place in the creative arts, of which architecture is one. Architecture has not caught up the way the other creative arts have, but I always say that architecture is the next thing that would break loose and become a global phenomenon.
I think it's on me to do my part, like be true to myself and true to my journey and inspire others to stand and be true. I know that as Africans, a lot of us want validation from the West. Oh, this is the best designer according to so and so and so. Oh, this is the best. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on us and sometimes bends creatives out of being original because they want to do things the way they think the West is looking to perceive Africa.
We should begin to see pride in ourselves, that if you could have somebody of this status several centuries ago, then why can't our generation get to that level that those ones got to at their own time? And so the solution would first of all come from discovering who we are. And when I say discovering who we are, it is not discovering who we are from the lens of another person. Because, you get funny stories like Mungo Park discovered River Niger. River Niger had always been there and people had always lived around there. So why would you say it is Mungo Park that came from wherever he did and discovered a river that had always been there?
I think the true story, the cosmopolitan Africa, is not really seen by the West. They see us as really small. They believe that the only kind of clothes we make that is authentic to us, maybe Ankara. Well, that's not true. There are other parts. We're also an evolved civilization. We have things that make us tick. We have fantastic food, music, clothes. So what am I doing? It's just being authentic to myself, telling my story and pushing it as much as I can, and taking this gift that I've been given and traveling the world with it and showing people what it is about and presenting it in a way that other people will be able to enjoy it. And there's no better time than now with what's happening with our music and then our movies and then of course our fashion. So it's such a good time to be an African creative and to be part of the people that get to show people the current Africa.
My vision for Africa's future is growth. I see growth because when you collaborate with the right people and you put trust in your business, you definitely grow. Because when people get satisfied about what you do, you tend to grow because you tend to do more interactions with people and you grow from one level to another.
My vision for Africa's future is predicated on the fact that Africans must first and foremost take their destinies in their hands, because no other person can protect your interests more than you.
For the younger people, it's very important that you must first and foremost identify your purpose as an African, so that your identity, you will not live in a state of confusion, where, for example, you cannot identify yourself and who you are. Your identity is of major importance to you as an individual. So for the younger ones, first and foremost, you must understand that you are important, in the space in which you were born. Anywhere, as an African, whether you were born in Rwanda, born in South Africa, born in Nigeria, born in Cotonou, anywhere you were born, you must understand that you are very important And as a black person, you have something to offer the world.
I think young Africans just need to be bold. If you're thinking of making a difference, you need to go boldly. Be you authentically. You can't be, as something I say to my team, and then maybe whenever I get the opportunity to speak, you can't be more European than the Europeans. You can't be more American than the Americans or Asian than the Asians, but you can be 1001% authentically African and yourself. Your forefathers, all those stories, all those learnings, all the genes, the things that your forefathers have done and passed, all those memories, all those things packed together is in you, this person, to make you unique, different, and for every life there's a purpose. So go into the rest of the world and live authentically and live true and be bold about it.
Taste of Africa, Chicago, is actually a tremendous work they're doing here. It's about telling the real story of Africa to Africans and also to the world, which will create a very good narrative about Africa, a good perception about what the real Africans are.
I'll give kudos to the Taste of Africa. What they are doing a very great job. And because they are actually going into communities to show the world what people are doing in Africa. And I will say that they shouldn't relent, they should continue, because they are actually showcasing Africa. What other world doesn't know about Africa, they are showing it to the world to let them know what Africans can actually do.
I think it's a laudable initiative, Taste of Africa, because you must have seen or known that, oh my goodness, there's so much misinformation about my homeland, about my home continent to the rest of the world. And taking that initiative to educate people, it's one that can only be done out of a good heart. So I think it's such a laudable initiative, and I applaud the organizers and the people behind this initiative. Thank you for sharing our stories with the rest of the world and educating people about your motherland, Africa. Yeah. And it would be nice to get people to know more details about Africa beyond what the movies say.
Face of Africa, to me, is a platform for showcasing Africa, particularly to the diaspora. And by so doing, drawing attention to Africa, because a lot of people think Africa is a country. A lot of people think people in Africa, they still live on trees, or they still are primitive. And so this initiative, Taste of Africa, would first and foremost help to draw attention to the fact that Africa is a progressive continent, that Africa has a lot of talent to offer, and that Africa is also a ripe place for investment, because truth be told, the returns you get on your investment in Africa are much higher than what you get anywhere in the world.
I'm excited to be a panelist in the Taste of Africa Chicago 2024, and it promises to have exciting conversations and discussions. So I'm using this opportunity to invite my friends and colleagues to be part of this awesome program.